What's going on, guys? Welcome back to EMPM. That stands for Engineering Major, Philosophy Minor. This is the channel where you can get a working aerospace engineer's opinions on topics pertaining to engineering, philosophy, politics, and various other social and cultural issues. And it looks like the description of working is going to be apt for what we're going to, working engineer is going to be apt for what we're talking about in today's video. But before I get into that, got a couple important announcements to make. First off, I just finished reading here The Authoritarian Moment by Ben Shapiro. Really excellent book. I have also finished reading Speechless, Controlling Words, Controlling Minds, available for pre-order now, but actually available for order now by Michael Knowles. And both these books are awesome. I actually think I prefer The Authoritarian Moment over Speechless. Nothing against Michael. I just think Ben's style of writing is just more favorable to me. But we're going to do some reviews of these books as well. And gosh, I need to film more stuff about the Gulag Archipelago, but I digress. Let me get into one really important thing. So we're filming in 4K for this video because I got to show you guys something. So recently, I went to a new fried chicken spot that opened up here in Utah. And I want you guys to take a look at what I've got set up on this plate right here that you can see on the screen. You've got this delicious, crusted fried chicken strips right here. You can see they've got a little bit of a red tint to them. And if you look closely, you can even see specks of seasoning in there of fresh herbs. The chicken's perfectly cooked. And then you've got some really good looking French fries, the nice long cuts, relatively thick cuts, in between like the In-N-Out French fry and like the huge wedge French fry that you can get. Of course, I cooked up, a few eggs right here with some cheese because gains, bro. And then take a look at the dipping sauce options right here. So we've got a like this honey style sauce right here. This is very appropriate for Utah, being the beehive state. This was a really good sauce. I do wish they had a honey mustard sauce, but then there's like a Thousand Island, a ranch, and of course traditional ketchup. I think there might be something added into the ketchup, like to make it a little bit spicier. All really good. Anyway, this was super delicious. So I just had to share that with you guys. So I was really upset, when I was filming the last video, which had to do with, the part of, Joe Biden's Build Back the American Taxpayer Getting Reamed bill, also known as 1.9 trillion of your and my money for stuff that we don't really need. And so I was kind of bummed out. But then later that night, actually, this was like it was pretty late. I think it was like, well, maybe not that late. Maybe it was like 5 p.m. and I just didn't see the article until that very late. But then I got a notification from CNN. And I liked the headline, but then we got an article out on the Daily Wire, and I did not want to give CNN any more clicks than they deserve. So look at this. Federal court freezes Biden vaccine mandate over possible grave statutory and constitutional issues. What's up, dog? Oh my. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Yeah, doesn't it bum you out, Joe, when there's this thing called the Constitution that has led to, important successes in both like a moral and like virtuous lawmaking in the United States of America through, over the past 200 years, and it just like slaps you in the face when you try to do something that kind of tries to circumvent it and, violate people's rights. Gosh, doesn't that suck, dude? I mean, isn't it a bummer when, you have these elections in Virginia and you just think that as a Democrat, you just cinched everything in because, everyone loves critical race theory and radical gender philosophy, and then it just gets like completely slapped away and rejected by the people raising the next generation who are going to, go into politics in this country. Man, it must be such a bummer to just be wrong about everything. Anyway, guys, this is this is a temporary court freeze, obviously, so they can collect all the facts and they can go through all, the hearings and all that stuff like that. But still, it's a little victory. and it's incredibly important, and it is something to be celebrated because, so I mentioned this briefly in the last video if you got to about 20 minutes in, which you probably didn't, and, you know, rightfully so because it might have been kind of boring for you, but I mentioned in the last video that I actually picked up a second job. So a few videos back, I made a little, you know, topic about my financial strategy for navigating the mandates. One of them was actually to pick up a second job, not a second career. I love the engineering career that I have right now. Obviously, that is subjected to mandates that are different than this one. So this doesn't freeze those mandates for federal contractors. This just freezes the one, I think, for like the OSHA BS. But I actually, based on that, you know, financial advice, I'm the kind of person who, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I did pick up a second job working at a grocery store. And you know what? I'm actually kind of excited about it. But then I was at orientation and, you know, they were like, oh, make sure you get your vaccine stuff in the system. And I was like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. And this one lady, you know, really nice person was like, yeah, you know, I'm vaccinated. I have no problem telling you guys that, but I'm not getting a booster shot. Then I asked the lady at orientation, I was like, hey, you know, what does senior leadership think about this, you know, kind of on a personal level? And she's like, well, they're just going to follow the CDC, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay. So I got a second job specifically to avoid, you know, mandates. And then it's probably going to be mandated at that job. Okay. I left California to get rid of radical, progressive, communist, and socialist policy, come to Utah. And, you know, we've got a governor who won't stand up to this like federal BS, you know, who won't be like Ron DeSantis. And did I see Utah on the list of people who are, you know, part and privy to this lawsuit? No. Why not, dude? Where you at, Spencer Cox? Come on, man. Come on, man. Anyway, so I just want to make this video so we can celebrate this. You know, U.S. Federal Appeals Court issues a stay on Saturday, temporary halting Democrat President Joe Biden's vaccine mandate that would have required companies with at least 100 employees to get vaccinated for the coronavirus or be tested weekly. So this is another important thing, you know, because there's a lot of CEOs of companies, you know, have come out and be like, and said, oh, well, you know, it's not really a mandate, you know, because you have a choice of getting tested weekly. Yeah, I don't want to do that either. No one wants to do that either. Okay. Sorry. You know, we're not putting up with any of this. How about this? How about you guys get rid of all the COVID regulations entirely? If someone wants to wear a mask, or if someone wants to get vaccinated, or if someone wants to be a coward and quit their job and stay home because they're scared of all the unvaxxed people, even though they're vaccinated, then they can go make that choice for themselves. And, you know, the men will just get back to work like we always have, you know. I mean, God, you hear this complaint all the time. Well, you shouldn't have to work 2 jobs in order to make it. Why not? Okay? I'm working 2 jobs because this guy Joe Biden's threatening my livelihood, literally. Not like all the people who complained about Trump. Oh my God, the mean tweets are so bad and they're just hurting me, and speech is violence, but silence is also violence. No, get out of here with that. This is a policy by Joe Biden and OSHA and all the cowards who are just going along with it. And that includes the cowardly CEOs who won't stand up and just say no. Thank you to Delta Airlines. My boy over there, I think his name's Tim. Is it Tim Cook? I don't think so. Never mind. Whoever the CEO of Delta is, dude, thank you for standing up. I mean, you're my favorite airline. Listen, Delta. If you guys get rid of the mask thing and you're pushing back on the vaccine mandate, I will never fly a different airline again for the rest of my life. I promise you that. I will always fly Delta. Even though you guys were some of the most strict on the masking and all this COVID protocol in the beginning, which I disagreed with, now you guys are taking a step in the right direction. The American people will get behind you. Guarantee you, if you guys want to just outperform all the other airlines, get rid of the mask thing. Everyone will just fly with you. And then guess what? All the other airlines will start to do the same thing because they are going to realize that you're competing just on some next level stuff. So what was I saying? I was talking about how I was talking about how Trump everybody was saying like, oh, Trump's like directly affecting my life and putting me in danger. Meanwhile, everything's getting better and everything's doing well. Now all of a sudden you got Joe Biden, who's literally doing stuff that directly affects people's lives and livelihoods, their ability to raise their kids, their ability to make a good living, their ability to transcend poverty, right, and participate in the free market. And all of a sudden you got this guy Joe Biden coming in just slapping everyone's constitutional rights to the floor and, putting the boot on your neck and just saying, no, you will obey. Yeah, screw that, man. And honestly, Spencer Cox of Utah, please, if you ever watch this, I mean, you probably won't, but you better sign on to this lawsuit, bruh, because, we're going to vote you out. Okay. Same thing with all the Republican cowards who voted on the $1.9 trillion spending. Thankfully, a guy like Mitt Romney, didn't go in and be like, oh my God, we need more green energy and stuff. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to do all that crap. The people are trying to do all that crap here in Utah, too, and they're just going to ruin the state like California. Listen to this. Forcing Americans to choose between their livelihoods and their freedom is a grotesque abuse of power, and we won't be a party to it. This is from Jeremy Boring, the co-founder of Daily Wire. We will not incur the cost of implementing this testing regime. We will not incur the liability of inserting ourselves into the private health decisions and information of our employees. Our company was founded to stand against tyranny, and we will. Thank you, dude. Thank you. Hey, other CEOs of the world, listen to this, man. Because, look, COVID actually doesn't really affect any of the job qualifications or anything having to do with engineering or any job for that matter. Now, you might say, well, EMPM, actually, if you get sick, then you'll have to take off work and they'll lose productivity. Yeah, we have to do that with every single other possible thing. So I guess maybe I shouldn't drive a car to work because I might get in a car accident and have to call out sick from work. Okay, there's a reason why we have sick time. Now, the last thing I want to say before I hop off this, maybe we'll make 15 minutes on this one. Last thing I want to do before I hop off is I want to say I read a quote from someone on some more left-leaning news source. And by the way, yes, we conservatives do read the left-leaning news sources as well, because as frustrating as it might be, we actually like to engage with the other side's positions and actually understand the other positions and be able to steel man the other positions so that we don't, when we come on and rant like I'm doing right now, we actually have something intelligent to say. But this one woman says, well, I'm really surprised that they're taking this to court now because it doesn't actually go into effect until January. Guys, you have to be fully vaccinated by January. So back off 2 weeks from your, final vaccination. That's actually December 2021, mid-December. Then back off 4 weeks from that for your first inoculation. And all of a sudden you're in, where we are right now, basically mid-November. You got to start getting those shots. Okay? So let's say that you end up getting those shots and then January rolls around and they realize that it's unconstitutional and they don't do it. Well, then all of a sudden you've gotten the shots, right? You've already had to violate your own moral conscience, your own religious beliefs. You maybe have already subjected yourself to potential adverse reactions. You've done everything already. So it doesn't take effect until January 4th. Well, I can't wait until January 4th not to get the shots because on January 5th, I'll be walked out of the building, man. Oh, yeah, you really found the loophole. It doesn't take effect until January 4th. Get out of here, So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. Again, I'm going on 2 jobs right now, so I don't necessarily need this as a source of income, but I do want to give you guys an engineer's perspective. And the reason I want to do that is because there are, science-y people out here who don't agree with this stuff and actually realize that there is a place for moral virtue and ethical considerations that go beyond just the science. And we need to start looking at the world from not only a intelligent and reasonable scientific standpoint, but we really need that moral and that virtuous and that ethical standpoint to come into play because science doesn't answer those questions. Okay, science will tell you some pretty brutal things, actually, if you let it. And that will lead to, now, science isn't going to force you to make a decision, right? But science is going to offer you choices, and one of them or the other could be extremely morally unconscionable, okay? And what we're doing right now, what Joe Biden wants to do with this mandate is he wants to do two things. One, he wants to get all the non-believers in secular progressivism out of here, right? He wants to weed people out. He wants to separate people. And then the second thing is he wants you to cower so that he can license doing more and more crap like this, and he'll know that he has enough people that'll just go along with it so that, you know, he can literally be the king of the United States of America. And it's wrong. It's morally unconscionable. This is not a fair consequence to essentially what is a non-crime. Okay? We have the justice system. We have the Constitution. We should not circumvent that because some people feel unsafe. All right? Everybody can make their own personal decision at this point on how to decrease their risk significantly, and they can make that decision on their own. And it is not a fair argument to say, oh, well, you don't have the right to get me sick, and you're threatening my freedom by walking around without a mask or not getting vaxxed. No. Because by you saying you're threatening my freedom, by you saying that this other person is harming me, you automatically justify legal and oftentimes physical and life-related consequences and punishments for things that are not actually crimes. There's a reason why we have very specific definitions of crimes. There's a reason why there's specific criteria. There's intent. There's all these things. If you want to make something a law, if you want to make something punishable, we need to use the Constitution and the justice system. You cannot just go circumventing this stuff and saying that people should lose their entire livelihoods and not be able to feed their families around Christmas time, or just completely compromise their moral conscience and subject themselves to a medical procedure. Okay? That's wrong. No amount of science is going to be able to make that argument for you. Even if we found out tomorrow that the vaccine is 100% super effective and it has absolutely no side effects for anyone of any age ever, and you'll live forever if you take it, that still doesn't mean that you can force people to undergo some of that stuff, because some people may not want to live forever. Okay? So anyway, guys, went over. Now we're at 20 minutes. Catch you guys later in the next one. Peace.